Now, today's talk should be about karma. And that's a wonderful topic which was accompanying me from the very beginning. It was an important topic for me, and with the years always coming something more to it, seeing this law of nature always more clearly, or it made more and more meaning to me. At the present time, I came even farther than that, seeing karma, the karmic potentiality, as something which would almost belong to physics. We have electricity, huh? We still don't know exactly what it is, but we are using it in a very everyday manner. So perhaps one day there will be some big uncovery, and somebody will come with some instrument, not necessarily kinesiology, to measure the karmic potential.
It's coming your way.
No. Like electricity is plus and minus, so the karma is good and bad, wholesome and unwholesome. It has quite some similarities. Karma is, electricity you can charge into accumulator. It is there, we cannot see it, it is there, it waits for the opportunity to give some result, for example, to light a light, or to turn some motor, or whatever. So karma actually has lots of similar characteristics. Therefore, for myself, I regard it as something which should be researched, so that one day the children will learn it in the school. In the Buddhist countries, the law of karma is spoken of and understood as the light of the world. Without that, without knowing what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what is good, what is bad, we are really like lost boat people in the ocean. And we can do things without knowing the result it will bring. And therefore, this approach to the teaching of karma, I value so much. Even in the spirituality, it has a wide range application. Even the highest paramis, which are so necessary for higher realizations of insight and freedom, even the Buddhahood is actually founded by paramis, which are perfections, which is nothing else but a stored, extreme wholesome karma, accumulated, better to say, which allows the being in the last rebirth to attain this kind of awakening and have this potentiality to formulate the teaching, to teach the people, to give it to the humanity. So, law of karma is a natural law which I will try to explain in understandable language as follows. Anything and everything we do with our mind, with our language, with our body is karma. The original meaning of the word karma was act. And already in a pre-Buddhist time, there was a belief, perhaps even some experience, that things which we are doing have some imprint. Now, in our today's society, we are very much aware what changes, what effects our deeds have on our environment. And the ecology and all these are wanting to make us even more aware that with any kind of consumption, you say, we are taking resources, we are influencing the world around us in many ways, with pollution, with some good things, whatever. Now, the theory and law and application of karma is not exactly this, because the law of karma focuses how with my doings I am influencing myself. What kind of influence, when I am living, consciously doing things, how I am changing myself. That's the basic of the law of karma. So, with this clarification, now entering some more particular areas, we can say, like, we can start with a full enlightened being. Why the full enlightened realized being will be no more reborn? Because the potential which can trigger rebirth has been set out of function. In some way, like a shortcut in electricity, something has been annihilated. And therefore there is not the driving potential for fully realized being to be reborn. According to Vajrayana, still even the enlightened one can decide to be reborn on account of free will and compassion. Okay, that's a little bit different story. In Theravada, the fully enlightened one will be no more reborn. So, what is the difference between living of a fully enlightened one and anybody else? What makes the difference? Because even the fully enlightened ones can do very remarkable deeds like Buddha did, to set up a monastic order. Wow, that's a headache. These young monks, horrible work. And then came the women for ordination. Oh, yeah, how to deal with that? Lots of things. And the life of Buddha is full of teaching and activities and like that. So where is the difference? The fully realized beings still are creating karma, but this karma is something like to write something on a beach in the sand, comes wave from the ocean and washes away. It has no potentiality for further reaching result. Everything for the fully realized one is done 100% on the spot. there is no unfinished business remaining after the life of a fully enlightened, realized being. Everything is solved and equal on the spot. In our private, personal case, it is different. We have the ideas of self. We are perceiving things through the lens of the self, which is always distorting everything. We have this gravity of greed, of resentment, of delusion. We don't see the things clearly. There is always distortion in our assessment of the situations. We react on the things. The reaction clearly is new potential, new karma. Good or bad, according to karmic quality. And therefore, the life of an ordinary person is a kind of a perpetuum mobile, because that what we are encountering in our life is from certain percentage result of our karma. How we react on that, because it is either pleasant or unpleasant, how we react on it, we are creating new similar potential for the future. That's the perpetuum mobile of samsara. Therefore it is running all the time, round, without meaning, without sense, without any clear why. And so from this should be clear that in the teaching which Buddha gives us is lots of advices how to avoid to do bad deeds on account of bad motivation, or to avoid evil emotions or negative reactions, because with that we are paving our future. These things will wait like in the accumulator for the opportunity to discharge the potential back into our life. And karma is individual. The idea of self in principle is universal. That's quite mind-blowing. That exactly that what we think is so extreme important for us, the sense of me, of self, who I am, what I have. Exactly that is a play of mental factors which in the truth are universal. The error of self in everybody is the same. Good reason for metta. Of course, we have different mental concomitants, and therefore everybody is living different life. But exactly this, the idea of me and self, is a universal error in everybody, unless one is quite advanced in the Buddhist teaching. So these are the general kind of lines about karma. Perhaps it will help us the best when I now mention that in the tradition, usually, and in the suttas, Buddha's discourses, the talk is usually about kusala and akusala, wholesome and unwholesome. This is a simplification of the truth, but in one sutta, Buddha speaks more precisely about 4 types of karma. The black one, the white one, the mixed one, and the karma which leads to destruction of karma. And actually for us, exactly this division into 4 types is the most important one, because it can clarify and explain many things of the practice we are doing, or even the meditation practice we are doing. So we are taking precepts, which is the basic element in the teaching to protect the person against heavy, dark, negative karma. To kill in Buddhism has one of the worst karmic results. To steal is not much better. To be cruel, enjoy cruelty, very bad. Sexual misconduct, causing suffering to another beings, very bad karma. Lying, to confuse the communication by lying and all that, creating confusion among people, bad karma, and so on. So the precepts, as they are formulated in Buddhism, there are 10 commandments in Christianity which actually contain almost all these 5, almost. So we see in that even the religions which has hardly anything to do together or have nothing to do together, because they are relating to one law of allness, they have a similar tendencies, similar messages. Actually, Buddha brought many precisions actually to things which existed already in the pre-Buddhist time. So, for example, for the law of karma, he made it clear it is not the act itself, it is the intention behind the act which actually creates the karma. So even apparently good deed may be done with quite some cruel or crooked motivations, and the karma is of course negative in that case. So that's one little precision. But let's go further. There is the white karma, which is meant doing good deeds, having good words, having good thinking, cultivating good emotions in oneself, adhering to wholesome views, because also our attitude towards different things in our life, that all creates karma. These are all deeds. Even our internal positive or negative attitude towards different elements of existence and life. So that's the black karma, the white karma, the good and the bad. But then, in the reality, the motivation behind our acts is mostly mixed. And that means this is the black and white karma mixed, meaning also the result will be mixed. Somehow positive, but also not so wonderful. So that's actually the most frequent kind of karma. But for us here at this point, the most interesting is the fourth kind of karma. Karma which has the destruction of karma as its result. Because that is actually the most valuable thing for us. And if we look into the teaching, what is this? It is the Eightfold Noble Path. Following of the Eightfold Noble Path is the way to reduce the karmic potential. So first of all, the negative, unwholesome things should be eliminated, reducing in the end even the positive karma. So seeing the teaching, sometimes it is simplified that actually the positive karma is of two different kinds. One good karma leads to happiness and samsaric good rebirth, and the other, even better karma, leads to nibbana. It is not exactly the same. So these are the different applications of the Eightfold Noble Path for good rebirth, for good quality of life, and in the ultimate sense, for attaining the full liberation. Okay, so far explanation about the general scope of the teaching about karma. Now, coming to the particularities of that, Buddha did not say so much about particular effects, causes and effects. Actually, he declared the law of karma as one of the four achintayas, which means these are areas which the human mind, areas of reality, which the human mind has not the capacity really to grasp completely fully. It is so complex and high and sometimes going beyond the human capacity altogether, that we cannot really understand it in a full operational mode. But there are sufficient informations which gives actually quite a good feeling about the karmic law. Starting with the place and family we are born. As a very fundamental beginning, it is not a pure haphazard or chance that we were born in that country, in that time, in that family. It is the karmic affinity which connected us with the parents. The children are choosing the parents. The parents are not choosing the child. Perhaps the conception in today's possibilities. It is not a chance that you and me have been born there where we were born. There is a long karmic history with those beings or people. So there is lots of karmic bonds which are actually leading finally to the birth of a particular child. Little bit funny story happened in Switzerland. I was teaching in a retreat, and there was also this talk about karma. One young lady, young mother, was attending the retreat, and when she came home, she had about 5 years old small boy, and you know, these children, sometimes that's the time when they start to rebel. And again, when it happened, so the mother told the child, "You see, we did not choose you, you chose us." You know, the small child could understand that. What he said, one can be wrong. I can make a mistake. Whatever, so be careful what you say to small children. But whatever. So starting with that, you know, that the unfinished business, the positive and the negative one, this is actually the double charge which can make this bond to particular people. Not only positive, not only negative, but both. There is a lots of positivity and lots of negativity together, unfinished, so there is a great karmic affinity which brings the people together. Not only the parents, also your friends. Look, and of course your spouse, your partner in marriage. That definitely. Lots of karmic threads are behind that. Some people suddenly somehow are interested in that what the other person says. You know, we met so many people in our life. Why just some of them are becoming friends and other becoming enemies? The vast majority just neutral, okay, yes. Why? Karma, past karma. So we are coming into this earthly existence with lots of karmic disposition. This psychological idea that the child is an empty sheet of paper coming into existence is completely wrong. From Buddhist point and from the experience of many mothers, they know very well that each child from the first day is pretty different. So we are born with karmic, so to say, inheritage. We are coming into this existence, into this life, with disposition. Of course, in the child, these things are not yet awoken. They are latent. They are as disposition. So they are not a fate. You know, sometimes there was an idea that we are born with a definite fate, what will happen to us in the life. Not so in Buddhism. These are only tendencies, disposition. But already in the Tibetan iconography, if you remember this Paticca you know, this 12 nidanas, 12 links of Paticca. In the Tibetan iconography, everything is communicated by pictures. So actually, the first picture is blindness, avidya. The second picture is sankhara. And sankhara and karma, it's basically overlapping completely. It's almost the same meaning in this particular area. So the picture on this tanka is a potter. You know, in the olden days, the potters were using a kind of turning wheel and putting a clay in the middle. They could make, rotating that, making a pots, making a vase, making a glass, many possible practical ceramic items. So actually the simile here is the karma is the clay, which of course tells a lot. If there are many stones in it, something will be not well happening. You cannot do fine things with that. So the definition of that, or the meaning of that, is that still we are the architects of our life, fairly, not 100%. We are limited by the quality of the karma we bring into this unique existence, but fairly enough, the shape which we give to our life is fairly in our hands. This is the very positive message from Buddhist teachings. So, understanding this kind, that already in the childhood, many tendencies will come, and the education and rearing which the children are getting from the parents can certainly influence which part of the karma will be activated and which, if possible, will be rather attenuated, so that it does not really influence too negatively the life, the beginning life of a human being. So, the place and the family to be born. The faculty, the sharpness of the faculties of the newborn. Now, be careful. Many things are in DNA, and me being always in close watch how the spiritual teaching fits into the scientific discoveries, because I don't want two separate things. I like when these things are actually rather supporting each other. So I always look in the science and in the spirituality for some commonalities to bring it somehow together. Sharpness of the sensory equipment. So DNA, the genes are certainly bringing quite a number of qualities which is inherited from the parents, and the whole genetic pool we have in the DNA, no doubts about that. Also, perhaps the facial expression, the form and shape of the body, that doesn't need to be the result of karma. That would be in the genetic. But the sharpness and skill, how this sensory equipment works, including the mind, because the mind is also sensory element in Buddhist understanding. That means also the personal intelligence, and which kind of intelligence we have and which is lacking. All that will be very closely influenced by past karma from previous existences. Let's be clear, because it's a newborn, so there is not yet much karma from this particular existence. So how our sensory equipments work and how our heart, how our mind works is fairly influenced by karma. Our tendencies, our skills, quite a lot influenced by karma. So also our profession. You can try anything in your life, but only things which are founded with karmic support, these will be the jobs we can really do well, and we can also keep it. Because if it is not supported by karma, we will lose it, or we will be not good at it, and we will change. So even that, the profession, fairly depending on the karma. And of course, as I already mentioned, our friends, if you are on your own,
self-employed.
Yeah, let's call it this way, self-employed. Yes. So it is very much depending on your friends or on your contacts, better to say, because the business now, it is many things running through internet, so it's a little bit different. But before, personal contact was crucial for good business, doing good business, and to flourish on the market. So to have friends, to have good contacts, to have the open doors in many areas, why that? Why somebody is so skillful and the others, they work hard the whole day and have hardly to support the family. That's already next karmic result. Why some people are as they are. And this is actually the area where Buddha gave about, I think, 14 guidelines which action leads to which karmic result. It is not to be understood as a kind of a mathematic or this means that. No, these are just latent tendency, which activity done repeatedly, mostly it is really getting strong by repeating again and again. The karmic potentiality is growing, and then the probability to bring particular fruit is also growing. So people who kill will have short life. People who protect life are working on longevity. People who enjoy cruelty repeatedly are creating the foundation for serious illness. People who do not do these things will be more and more healthy. What is the reason, karmic reason for beauty? What is the karmic reason for ugliness? Very interesting for ladies. No? If somebody engage a lot with anger and ill will and jealousy and like this, the physical appearance will get uglier and uglier and uglier. If somebody loves the opposite and does the opposite, instead anger, spreading goodwill and kindness and like this, the physical appearance is growing towards beauty. I would take it not so literally within one lifetime, but what actually works, if you look carefully, that the idea of beauty and ugliness is also very much influenced by the vibrations we are sending to our environment. And you can see your friends or your members of family, sometimes they look really old and whatever, and another they are so really flourishing with beautiful energy, and they look so nice and young. You know, so even that I would take it as a karma influence. There is a quote from Buddha, why some people have so many friends and so much influence, and the others have more or less alone, and you know, they say something and nobody listens. Being jealous on success of other leads to the loss of friendships and importance in the society. Congratulation attitude leads to many friends and to kind of being liked in the society. Many people may be interesting, or they may be curious or interested to know why some people are so rich so easily, and why the others work hard and nothing much coming, really. Generosity of heart. Not necessarily always the money. No. This is much larger. Generosity, you know, being ready to help, to share, to give, makes the heart rich. The stinginess makes the heart narrow and poor. Those who are reflecting and wanting to find out the meaning of life, how to make something good and beautiful out of life. These people are accumulating the karmic potential for intelligence. Those who are just playing games in a casino and computers, stupid games and shootings, and then it's a wonderful way for stupidity. So these are the few guidelines which came directly from Buddha. We can feel some connections in that. Remote, sometimes even it touches us a little bit. There was even a therapy which was called karma therapy, that when people came with some problems, this karma therapist, you know, according to this law of karma, stingy. So recommending sharing, you know, healing the people with the karmic wisdom. How successful it was, I don't know. There are not so many, so I don't know how it works in reality. But karma operates in our life. You know, so this was the most important messages about law of karma. You know, just put in your notebook and in your mind. It is not necessarily how we influence the others and the world. No, with our deeds, with our thoughts, we are influencing ourselves. That's the cardinal message in the teaching of karma. And that we can do good deeds and avoid to cultivate the mind and to avoid doing wrongdoings gradually. It's possible. Buddha is unequivocal with that. Now, there can be many more things said about karma. Why some things happen to us? Usually it is understood that the accumulated unresolved karma, of course, one important thing's more, when particular karma gave the fruit into our life, so there was a fruition of the karma, with that the karma is finished, is neutralized. This one will not come anymore. Clear thing about that. Now, people would like to know, well, so what is my karma? What is what I have to perhaps work on? So many things happening in my life. So what is the karma? The things which repeat, it's a look back in your life. The things and mistakes and good things which happened to you repeatedly, that's quite clearly supported or caused by karma. The good thing which repeatedly happened to you, and the bad thing which repeatedly happened to you in different variations, but you know, it comes again and again. It comes and again to be a kind of invitation to grow. It is an invitation, the situation which, the difficult situation which comes into your life. It is an invitation to deal with it in a Dhammic way. Because then you've learned the lesson, there is no blind reaction which would repeat the things again. In that case, there is neutralization of that karma. And this is the mindfulness in our life, which creates, when developed, what we are trying to do here, the daily activities must be included in the training of mindfulness. The mindfulness makes this space in the mind, that we are not glued to the situation so instantly and inevitably, There is a space in the mind so that we can decide, do I really want to go to the fridge? Because that's the things we have to train when we go home. The retreat is just half of the undertaking. The second half of the retreat is when you come home to apply the advices, which we will talk about it on Sunday morning. Yes, please.
I have a question. In the Catholic Church, if a person commits a sin, they go to confession.
Yes.
And the priest absolves them of their sin.
Yes.
And says, you have been absolved. How is that viewed in the law of karma?
Yes, this is a question quite interesting. On one side, it is said the deed which has been done cannot be undone, but it can be covered by another karma. And indeed, it is specifically, I was looking this afternoon into the text. I found in Majjhima 86, that's Angulimala Sutta. Angulimala was terribly bad guy, killing people. And due to encounter with Buddha and his supportive karma from the past, he became a fully realized, fully enlightened arahat. But still, some karma was, not completely purified. This Angulimala Sutta ends with the quote, or with these paragraphs: "Who checks the evil deeds he did by doing wholesome deeds instead, he illuminates this world like the moon freed from a cloud." It's the same in the Dhammapada 173. In Buddhism, we don't have the savior, really, who does the job for us. We have to do it ourselves. And for some people, this is actually a good message. Not to rely too much on another authorities, and to take the full responsibility for that what I am doing. But I have nothing against the idea in the Christianity that such an enormous deed of Jesus can have a ripple, karmic ripple, even in some individual lives of others. I don't know. Therefore, I don't know. I don't try to make some statements about something which I have no idea. So karma is manageable. The principle, it is not a clockwork like a mechanical clock. It is manageable. It is dispositional. Please.
I think it's important to bear in mind that the teachings of the Catholic Church is for a person to be absolved of their sins, there has to be genuine repentance and a firm resolve not to repeat those sins. That's often kind of glossed over by Catholics themselves.
There is there is already a kind of a decision again. Mental decision makes karma, in this case opposite of that what has been done, which will have some attenuation on the deed itself. No. Actually, among the Sangha, there is also kind of a confession every 14 days, kind of a purification of the wrongdoings of the monks and nuns. In the Abhidhamma, there are 24 causes why the reality runs as it runs. The karma vipaka are only 2 of 24. So don't think that everything is karma. Not at all. But exactly the happiness and sorrow in our life is fairly result of karma, past karma, which can come also from this life, of course. let's sit for 1 minute.